guys, it's Abby and welcome back to my channel. Today I am giving you an updated version of my writing story, so let's get into it. As you can see in the first picture, I was exposed to horses when I was very young, and I started riding at camps, as you can see in this video, from I think this was about 10. I was about 10 when I started riding horses at camps and starting to get into horses, but as I was 2 to 5, I'd ride horses at country fairs all the time, and I loved it. So I started going to horse camps, and these horse camps really helped me expand my riding. I don't have any pictures or videos from the camps that I actually did a lot of stuff. I just have some pictures from this camp that I did on a mother-daughter weekend with my mom. I forget this horse's name, and I'm really mad at myself for it because he was the prettiest thing. He is so beautiful. I loved his dorsal stripe. And then after going to camps for a little bit, we decided that I would start trying out some barns to take lessons at. The first barn that I tried out was this one that you're currently seeing. And I rode this lovely mare named Jazzy who was really stubborn. And I ultimately decided not to go to this barn because I didn't really like the instructors. I tried out another barn that I don't have pictures of, and I also tried out my current barn. Once we found my current barn, I started taking lessons. The first lesson that I had was on a mare named Lexi. You can see her here. She's a flaxen chestnut or flaxen palomino, we don't actually know. But I rode her while I learned to trot. I did a lot of stuff on the lunge line and some stuff off the lunge line, and all these pictures and videos of the horses, so there's blocks of each horse. They might not be in the exact right order. I don't think all the videos of Lexi are in the right order, but it's okay. But as you can see, I rode her on the lunge line, and my trot on the lunge line looks a lot better than this trot that you're currently seeing. I rode outside a fair bit because I started riding in I think it was June of 2020. So June of 2020, I started taking lessons, and this was my first time riding outside. And as you can see, I was having trouble with my posting trot, so my instructor does the funniest thing. She has me halt here at K, and then she basically shows me how to post by basically doing squats. And it's really funny because you see how good this instructor was. She actually completely gave me a visual and didn't tell me, oh, don't do it, or she wasn't mean about it. She was really nice about it, and she helped me improve. So right here you can see she's trying to show me how to properly post, and it's really great. I loved this instructor. Sadly, she's moved now, but she was really great. And at the end of this video, you'll see that Lexi, she actually completely leaves the arena. When I start trotting again, when we get to CN, there's a little gap in this white fence. She leaves. I had no control of my steering. I was just going to trust that this really trustworthy old slow horse was just going to trot around. I didn't know what I was doing, so she basically left, and I also had a really hard time getting her to trot. She's lazy, but as you can see, right about here, she leaves. So we left the picket fence and my mom ends the video. After Lexi, I moved on to a horse named Oliver, who you will all know from my videos that I post now, because my best friend rides him. Oliver was basically my step up from Lexi. Oliver had a more forward trot, he helped me with my downward transitions, and he was honestly a great horse. I had my first ever canter on Oliver, which didn't go well, but I still loved this horse, and I had his mane on my desk. After Oliver, it was the summer, and I did take some lessons, but I also got to meet this amazing horse named Watson, who was beautiful. There's more pictures, don't know where they are. And in the fall, when I came back to lessons, I moved on to Willie. Willie was the typical, oh, you learn to canter on him horse, and I most definitely did. He taught me so much about cantering, and I really loved him. I still love him. It's not like he's dead or anything, or I don't love him. I love him, I just don't ride him anymore. I have so many pictures and memories of me and Willie, I couldn't even include them all. This is probably a quarter of them. I rode Willie a lot, and as you can tell, these pictures aren't all in the right order, but Willie was just amazing for my riding. Willie was like a mix of Lexi and Oliver, and he had a different style that I had to get used to. He was very particular about certain things, and he had a speed of canter that was, I'll trot in the back and canter in the front, which I picked up a lot because I didn't use my legs enough. And I still struggle with that to this day, but my instructors are doing a great job at trying to help me. But yeah, I did a lot of learning with Willie. And as you can see in some of these videos, the little kid on Wrangler, that's my sister, and she's present in a lot of the videos because she, as little sisters do, wanted to do exactly what I did. So she started riding too, and we took weekly lessons together with me riding Willie and her riding Wrangler. Hannah more so, let's say, didn't exactly want to learn to ride, I guess. I mean, she did, but she basically preferred to snuggle the horse. And then there's me who's like, what can I learn next? Here I come, trotting by on Willie, talking to my mom like, why isn't Hannah moving? Willie was really amazing for my riding, as I said before. He forced me to work hard and learn how to use my legs. I had a couple really good canters on him, like this one that you're seeing here. This is in my intro. Probably the best canter I had on him. I did a lot of time on the lunge line with him to gain some balance at the canter, because I had no balance. I lost my stirrups every single time. The audio was up on these things. You'd hear my instructor say, hey Abby, did you lose your stirrup? And I would say, yep. But these are some videos of me cantering him, and I'm just going to let you watch them. After Willie, I moved on to Little Wrangler. I rode Wrangler during the summer of 2021 because in the winter of 2021 I couldn't ride. COVID was really bad. But in summer of 2021 I started riding this little pony named Wrangler every week for my weekly lessons, where I also met my best friend, Alexia. She rode Major at the time and I rode Wrangler. And, I just really enjoyed being able to take lessons with people other than my sister and being able to learn so much. My instructor wasn't exactly qualified to let me canter, but she did anyways. And this picture is not actually from that time, but Wrangler was a great pony also for me to learn. All the horses at my barn are great. Wrangler, stubborn little thing he was, he hated moving, to say the least. I had to really, really push him to get him to go anywhere. He was so annoying, but he taught me a lot. He taught me that you can't just assume that a horse is going to go forward. You actually have to push them. It took me weeks to get him to canter a simple circle. Weeks, I tell you. See, on this one we didn't even try. We just went right down the long side. On the other one we did. Went okay. After riding Wrangler for 2 weeks, I switched onto the current horse that I ride, Major. I rode Major for the rest of my summer lessons, and I loved Major, and I still do to this day. He's such an honest horse, and if he doesn't understand what you're asking for, he just doesn't do it. He was great for my riding as well because of the way that he rides. He keeps he keeps his head low, and he kind of just goes with the flow for the most part, but if you put too much pressure on the reins, he'll slow down. He's not just going to let you hold on to the reins. He's a picky little pony, but he's really great at his job, and I love him. He will just trot in circles for hours. He would put up with all of my annoying riding habits back then. As you can see, I was not a great rider. So I'm not perfect, but I've gotten better, and I think Major has definitely helped me with that because I've been able to just go back to him time and time again and improve on him time and time again because I rode him so much. Riding a variety of horses is good for your riding because you get to know other horses, but just riding one horse really helps you to know that horse so you can keep improving and not have to completely learn another horse when you're not great at riding. So I rode Major during the summer for all my lessons, and I also had summer camp. For the first week of my summer camp, I rode a horse named Willie, who you guys will see in a second, if these pictures of Major ever end. And you guys have already met Willie. You saw him just recently. He was a horse that I learned to canter on, so I did camp on him. The first week of summer camp was chaotic. There were so many riders who really didn't know what they were doing. Me and my sister were the only ones allowed off the lead rein, and this pattern that we were doing was chaotic. There was horses everywhere, and it was hard to figure out what we were doing, and it just became a mess, as you can tell. I had fun on Willie, though. He reminded me to use my leg, and that he gets moody. He bit me a lot this week, but he was also just a good horse. The second week that I did of summer camp was advanced camp week, where I did my Canadian Rider level 1. And I'm currently working on my Canadian Rider level 2, if you didn't know. My Canadian Rider level 1 was done on Chase. Chase is the dun gelding here. He is really spooky, really sensitive, really sensitive. You've heard me talk about how sensitive he is before, but he was a really different ride because he's so much more sensitive than Major, and he requires no leg pressure at all, and he spooks all the time. But he was a really great horse, and I adored riding him. I kind of wanted to switch on to him, but I knew I couldn't canter on him because he has a really awkward canter. I just loved riding him because he was just pretty, so responsive, and as a horse girl, you know that I like the pretty horses. I'm joking, I like any kind of horses, but Chase is just beautiful, and I loved riding him, and he was really sweet, honest, sensitive, just a really great little horse. Me and my friend Alexia did this week of camp together, so that's her on Cooper there, and after the week of camp where I rode Chase, I rode Cooper for the final week of the summer. Cooper was a very different ride than what I'm used to. He was even more stubborn than Lexi, if you can imagine that. And he's such a tall horse, and he required so much of my leg and so much asking. He didn't like moving. He was a really good horse for me to learn on, but honestly, I hated riding him. The only reason I came to camp was because I loved horses and I wanted to improve. But I hated riding Cooper. I don't know how Alexia survived on him. He was so awkward and it was so weird to ride him. And as you can see, I'm doing an extra circle in each one of these videos because Ellen, the instructor on the ground there, since I was the most experienced at camp, the most experienced person at camp, she wanted me not to get bored, so she gave me all the difficult horses, and she made me do extra, like the extra little circle, or the extra little push of making him look extended, collected, and it was fun. I enjoyed being pushed. So if you guys didn't know, I'm a rider who I love being pushed. If I'm not pushed, I'm not having fun. And here's some more pictures of Mr. Cooper. After the summer ended, I resumed riding. First week, I was supposed to ride Topaz. She ended up being injured, so switched on to a very sweet mare named Santasia. As you can see here, I love Santasia. She's really tall, so I felt unstable, so I rode her for my first lesson and my second lesson before I asked to switch back onto Major. And I hope you guys enjoy all these little clips of Major, because there's about 1,000,000 of them. I learned so much on Major, and just having another rider in the ring. We learned so much, like asking to halt without pulling on the reins, a lot of more cantering stuff, general steering, and I just stuff that I can't even describe because I changed instructors in the fall, and this new instructor was great for my riding. Hillary is the toughest instructor at the barn, and she's the best. I love her because of how hard she made me work for everything and how hard she pushed me. I adored this about her because, as you know, I'm a rider who loved being pushed. So having Hillary was a great thing for me. I'm going to let you guys enjoy some clips of Major, and then I'll be back. We did a lot of pole work with Major, which is, if you didn't know, is my favorite thing to do. Because I want to learn to jump. Pole work is a part of jumping. So anytime I could get at pole work, I was so happy about it. I didn't have the best 2-point position, but it has improved a little bit. And these lessons weren't too long ago, if you've seen my videos. And, I just kind of went with it. And I just pushed Major. I did whatever my instructor asked me to, because I was so keen on learning how to ride, and I still am. I don't know why I keep saying I was. This isn't that long ago. And I had my best canter ever on Major. It was beautiful. We did a lot of trotting exercises with Major. As you can see here, we did main release down at the end. We did 2-point position. We checked our diagonals. We showed Hillary that we could change our diagonals. We did a lot. I know I don't have the best EQ or equitation, whatever you guys call it these days. I know I don't have the best EQ, but I'm working on it, and I'm just trying to become a better rider and not annoy the horses that I'm riding with my horrible EQ. Sometimes my mom would get the camera caught on the other rider in the ring. I can't prevent that. I'm not my mother. Major is a great horse for my riding, as you can tell too. I've done a lot of cantering on him. He has a really adjustable canter, which is great for me, so I can learn how to ask to adjust a canter. So in the first clip you saw, or the first part of this clip, he was really, really speedy. And eventually I just kind of got him to slow down. And I was doing 20-meter circles from going down alongside one before. I could barely canter a 20-meter circle. Major has really helped me improve my riding. This picture was taken on my riding test for my Canadian Rider Level 2. And I'm going to go take my written test tomorrow, but I hope you guys enjoyed today's video, and I will see you next time. Bye!